Welcome back to Excel 2016, Module 2, Part 3. In this section, we will consider indenting, borders, and alignment. The first thing I want to make sure everyone understands is the alignment and some of the defaults that Excel uses. Text will be defaulted left aligned. Numbers will default right aligned. Excel does this because we like our numbers to line up with the decimal place, all in alignment, to make it easier to do mathematical equations, following down income statements with all of those numbers being right aligned makes them easier to read. Headers, however, they do recommend that they are center aligned. They will default either left aligned or right aligned based on whether they are text or numbers that are in the heading. And then we also have the capability of aligning top to bottom using buttons called top, middle, and bottom. So those are the alignment options that we will be working with today. You should be in your morning workbook. You should have already created your sales report and have some number formatting done in that. You should have formatted the date in your documentation sheet in the long date format. Now you can see that even though the date is stored as a number, in this case, it is completely displayed as text. But because it is stored and entered as a number, the default alignment is still going to be right because it is a number. So if we want to left align this so that it looks like the rest of the text, we have to use the alignment buttons up here on our home tab in the alignment group to align it left. Once we do that, now it lines up and it looks like the other text fields that are around it. So if you want to override the default alignment, you must use these buttons. So let's go over to our sales report, and we're going to choose these column headings that we have in C5 through F5. We're also going to choose as a non-adjacent range the same columns in row 15. So we need to hold down the control key and select those as well. That allows us to select the two non-adjacent ranges. We're going to then choose center to center them left to right within those cells. Now I'm going to click on any other cell just to remove those selected highlights. And we're going to look at possibly doing some indenting. So if I wanted to indent cost of sales and operating expenses in both of these sections, again, I can select those as non-adjacent ranges using the control key. Then I can use these indent. With the increase and the decrease indent, each time you push it, moves it over a little bit. So if I moved it over 2, I wanted to move it again, it would move it over to 4. So I can move it back if I don't want it to move that far. Again, I'm going to click anywhere else to remove the highlighting. And the next thing I might like to do is put some bottom borders underneath my headings. So again, I am going to choose B5 through F5. And I am going to add to that a bottom border. Keeping in mind that borders and underlines are different, because borders will put a line under the entire cell. Underline will put a line only under the text, but it will be up a little bit further next to the words, a little bit closer. We could also then select B9 through F9, and we could choose a top border there. So I would hit the drop down arrow and choose top border. Now if I wanted lines on both of these, I could choose B11 through F12 and choose to do a top and bottom border. Okay, so we could repeat those down here for the statistical. We're going to put a bottom border under the headings, a top border under our net profit and loss, and then top and bottom borders around our other statistical or quantity type data. Okay, so now we're going to look down here at our individual stores. So we have in C27 all the way down to O47 store information. So I want those to be formatted as a comma number, and to get rid of my decimal places. And right now, the default is that they are at the bottom. But instead of being at the bottom, I would prefer that they were at the top. So we're going to hit top align, and it will move them all to the top of those cells. Our rows have to be larger because we have the entire address and phone number of each store listed. Now in C26 through O26, we need those to be centered because they are our headers. And then in B, where we have the store information, from B27 down to 46, we're going to make this a smaller font since there's so much information in there. We are also going to indent the store addresses over a little bit. And top a line. Next, we're going to go down to B47 through O47. And we are going to choose all borders. We also want to come over to do the same thing in column O. We're going to choose O46 all the way up to 26, and we're going to choose all borders. And then we're going to click on A24. So you can see we can do a lot with alignment and borders to make things a little more readable. We can separate the sections of our report easier so things will stand out more. But the next thing we want to do is we want to make it look like the state in which these stores are located, that state applies to all of the stores that are in that state. As it looks right now, California appears to only go with this state. And these do not look like they match that. So what we want to do is we want to fix that so that the word California is obviously attached to all of the California stores. So we're going to start by selecting A27 through 33. That is our range of our California stores. Now we're going to start out by using this merge and center button. When you merge and center, what it does is it turns that range of cells into a single cell, and then it centers left to right the text within that range. So you can see that the word California is now centered, and it's one cell. Did you notice that all the other lines disappeared? But it still does not look exactly the way we want, because what happened is it's all the way at the bottom. So I don't want them at the bottom. I want them in the middle of that group. So I'm going to come up here and I am going to choose to middle align. So that looks a little bit better. It does look like it fits all of it, but it might look nicer if we were to change the orientation of the text so that the word California ran up and down. So I'm going to choose this orientation button and rotate the text up. It will turn it sideways, Now it's a little more obvious that that header applies to all of the stores. So we're going to do that process again. This time we will do it for Washington. So the first step is to highlight all of the Washington stores. So in column A, 34 through 36, and merge and center. Again, that puts it at the bottom. We want it in the middle. And then we want to rotate the orientation to rotate the text up. So we're going to fix the other states. This one is a little more complicated since it has multiple steps, so we'll do it several times. We merge and center, align middle, and rotate up. Now with Idaho, there's only one state or store, so there's no need to merge and center. It's only one store. So we're going to center, middle, and then rotate it up. If there are 2 or more stores, you start by doing the merging and centering. Then you do the middle and the rotate. Merge and center will automatically do the centering piece for you. So when you choose for Colorado the 3 rows and you choose merge and center, notice the center button is already selected for you. You just do the middle and then the rotate. We could then reduce the column width of A down to 7 because we no longer need as much space since we rotated that text. Let's take a look at A26 through O26. There is a dialog box that has many of these options on it. So what we could do if we have multiple formatting steps that we need to do is we could open up the dialog box launcher. So if I go to my font group, you see this little button at the bottom. It's the dialog fonts launcher. Notice you have it in several of the groups, okay? Once you get it open, you have several tabs to choose from. The tab that opens up as the primary one when you first open it is dependent on which button you used when you launched it. Okay, so the first thing we might want to do is we might want to click the color box and choose white. And then we might want to go to the fill box and choose the color standard green. And then we can click OK. And now you can see that all of those headings are green with white text. If we wanted to highlight A27 through 46, we could format these you have format cells, and it would also open up that dialog box that we looked at before. So we could choose the fill color of gold, the 8th color in the first row, and then go over to the font and choose white as the font color. And we could also change the font size to 14, and perhaps we wanted to bold it. So you can see we can do several things all on that one dialog box. The next thing we want to do is work with one more function. We are going to calculate an average for each store. Excuse me. So on P26, we are going to type average, all caps. Notice it did pull in some of the formatting for us. It assumed that because we entered it right next to it that we wanted the same color for the fill and the font. But let's go ahead and use the average. Now if you look over here, we have a sum function, the auto sum, and average is one of the options underneath it. So if I choose that, it does try to fill in the range for me. However, this will not compute the correct average because in addition to choosing the 12 monthly amounts, it also chose the year-to-date total. So it would add the 12 months plus the year-to-date total and then divide that by 13. So that would be distorted. So you want to make sure you fix this range so that it only includes C through N, the 12 monthly totals. And that will compute an average for us. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste the format down. And I'm also going to paste it into the total so I can get an average of all of the stores combined. And now the only issue is that these items, they do not look the same. They're formatted on the bottom, there's no borders, and in order to do this, I would have to do multiple steps. Well, another option is to use something called the Format Painter. What the Format Painter does is it copies formatting, but does not change or copy the text or the numbers or the formulas. So if I highlight column column O, hit the Format Painter, and then highlight P, notice it automatically repeats that formatting. So the format painter will allow me to do that. Copy the formatting, leaving the numbers intact. However, one thing to be aware of is that it does only paint once. So it's more like the cut and paste rather than the copy and paste that you can do it multiple times. Now if I wanted to add a double border to the state results to make it a little easier to see where those were happening, we could do that. So we're going to start out at A27, and California goes down to row 33. So I'm going to go all the way out to N33. And then I'm going to choose to open up the dialog box. And I'm going to choose the border tab. Where it shows me this line style, I can change it to double. So I'm going to click on that bottom corner. And then I'm going to click on the option that says outline. And then I'm going to click on OK. So now you can see it added that double underline around the entire state. So we would want to do that for all of the states. So we would pick Washington and go out here to N36. And we can go to borders, double, outline. You can also get to that, remember, from the format cells. Border double, outline. We have a couple more states to fix. Brightness, format cells, double, outline. Okay, try that one again. I hit the wrong key. I apologize. So we're going to format cells. Notice I got through it a different way. I didn't like that. So format cells. And why is it doing that? It's escape. There we go. Now, it thought I typed a Z, which I did not mean to do. Border, double, outline. Get rid of that. Okay, cancel that. Sometimes if you hit the wrong key, it's better to just close it and open it back up. So we want double, outline, okay. And we have one last state to do. And we would open it up, choose borders, double, outline. So that allows us to have the double underlining around each state. That concludes this video. The next video, we'll take a look at themes, how those work, and as well as cell styles.